soon, everybody. Oh, hello, everybody. There are people here, which is great. Let me see. Gotta get back. It's been a while since I've streamed, and now I can't remember where my chat window was, and I should have brought that up beforehand, so that I could actually see if people are telling me that you can't hear me or something like that. Let's see. Where is the chat window? I don't know. Let me just go to YouTube on this computer. And let's see. There we go. Turn my own sound off. All right. Hi, everyone. All right. So it is working. Thanks for the likes. That's very helpful. Early likes are good for YouTube. And this is the shameless plug. If you haven't seen the Smash It Summer Sale, there's a couple days left. There's a couple Infinity PBR things on it. The Monster Bundle 3, Character Portraits Complete Pack, and this Low Poly Dragons character. And all the other stuff is always available. And if you do happen to shop at the Smash It Summer Sale, check out Infinity PBR. Click this See All Assets, and that gives this little affiliate code, which helps out a lot too. So far, Twisted Liver Studio going well. I actually woke up late, and I have some coffee next to me, and some water, and the coffee's going to be gone soon, then the water will come into play. And yeah. So, let's see. I was actually working on this the other night, and I thought to myself, one, it's late. Two, this could be a good live stream. And three, I think I actually did this already a while ago. I think I did this in the game module bundle, a demo of this exact thing. I can't remember though. It's been that long. Yeah. There it is. The items module now includes a demo showcase. Now you can use it in a highly functional buffs modification system. So if we go to the UD hub and bring up this project, and then under items, demo modification system. Yeah, so I did this. Okay. So I did this for the items demo, but I want to implement it in my game, and that's the point. And I started doing it in Legend of the Stones, and I realized that it should be a live stream. I also realized that I had already done it. And it basically uses the items system to show create different things, and you can have them, different categories, and we didn't need those, but all this stuff. So it's nothing fancy. I'm not going to copy anything from here because it's this is just a demo showing how to make that work. I don't need to copy anything. It's all live with the items already. So I'm going to recreate here from scratch. I'm gonna have to remember these things because these are certain things I'm gonna have to keep. But all right, so let me just delete this. All right, and we'll see what the game looks like right now. Now there are, of course, this is still working on it. So there's definitely, this is not the final version or anything, but let's just see where it is now. You can see the menus in the stats menu and whatnot. All right, so here we are. We got the game. Walk around, all that nice stuff. Demo scene from the meadow environment. Wonderful demo scene. The sun moves around and lights the characters' faces, and what's really cool, of course, if you go to your inventory, you can see the characters in the world. So this is actually the character. She's actually in the world, but you can't see her with the main camera. You can only see her with the portrait camera, which only sees the portrait in the background color. But here you can see this. So now if you take this off, you can. This is the inventory inventory system in action. So you can bring these on. You can see it affecting, so when she equips and unequips and whatnot. Yep. And then the stats, you've got stats working, so you can click the different characters and see their different stats. And if you look at her armor class and damage, so 5 and then 2 to 6 damage. And if we go to inventory, we can take off some of the armor and weapons and see the stats change. That was good. Took me a while to figure out some issues with that for some reason, but oh man, and it looks like I need to have like an overlay when you hover over the various invisible buttons here or something, because that's twice now that I've done this. Yeah, Nature Manufacturer makes good stuff, and the demo scenes are great to just start working with. So, all the characters. All the characters look like that, so that's good. I've rearranged the menu order here, and I haven't really done skills or magic or quests or accolades, and this has bugs in it, so yeah. But now the goal is to add conditions here, and to add a little cheat system so I can add conditions. Just I'm going to create a few conditions and then be able to add them, see them here, see their effects in the stats. Simple stuff like that. That's the goal. Thanks, Twisted. I've Twisted Liver. I have done less than you think in the last 2 months, but maybe it's been years since you've seen it, because I have been working on this for years. All right, so to create a modification system, we're going to use the items. I'll just keep it in here. I'm going to go create game modules, create items. We're going to call this modifications or conditions. Call it conditions. Now, sometimes this is a bug. I can't figure this bug out. Sometimes it just doesn't do anything, and you can try resetting. It doesn't work. The solution, which is really kind of silly, go into Writer, and let me close this one out. Literally change anything, save it, and that will force Unity to re-import scripts with the little wheel there, and then when it re-imports, there you go, everything works. So I don't know why Unity won't re-import it on load. I've been trying to figure that one out, but if you get into an issue where suddenly it doesn't see anything, that's what's happening here. All right, so items, you know, this module doesn't have to be physical items. It can be really anything you want to use it for. And so the you know, really the trick is to broaden your thinking so that it's just more broad about what you can use it for. So like the demo for this modification system in the modules demo, I'm going to create a buffs type, and we'll create a new type called debuffs. Oops. And another one called overtime. We'll do that. I might change these later, but that's okay. We're going to do one called heroism, and that's going to be a buff. And we'll do one called poison, and this is going to be an overtime. And we'll do one weakness, and this is going to be a debuff. All right. Now as you can see, we don't have the RPG data assigned, so I need to make sure I assign that. I've got two. One's the demo scene from the game module. This one is the one I want to use. And that's going to connect all of our stats and skills that we've assigned in that stats and skills system. So we'll set those up in a bit. There's a few things that we need for these. So each one now has values. So if I hold down Option and click, it will toggle all of them. And they have dictionaries. We're going to ignore the prefixes and suffixes for this one, I think. So for heroism, let's just add some effects. Let's say that might is going to go up by skill point. So this is going to be by skill point of the caster, and we'll do some base as well. So we'll say that the base base value will go up by, we'll just say 2, and then 1 per skill point of the caster. Um, yeah. So okay. So I was just thinking in my head, we actually need a few different things because part of this, the caster, whoever's casting this, could be a novice, an expert, a master, or a grandmaster, and the effects might change. And let me see if I go to my stats and skills. We go to stats or skills. So things like our magic skills. I don't know. Maybe this is a body magic or something. If it's body magic, the novice, expert, master, grandmaster. Yeah. So I'm thinking how I want to set this up because there are so many. Hi, G4L Studios. There's so many different ways you can use the modules in your project, and how you link them is completely up to you. I think what I'm going to do is say, okay, if I'm a caster and I've got body magic, expert, and I have heroism as one of my spells. Really, what I'm going to do is, I guess I could have another list of spells, which I'm going to have at some point, anyways, which is probably just going to be items, and that's going to have perhaps um, different um, I guess effects based on these four different training levels. Um, so for now, I don't necessarily. Yeah. So what I can do, I'm going to X these out for now. I'm going to go to the dictionaries tab and add some custom dictionary stuff. So dictionaries is the module that adds you, basically key value pairs of lots of different types. And it's helpful to make custom attributes or variables that assign to each of these items. So one of these things is going to be, is it a spell? Is spell. And we'll add that and make this, we ignore prefix and suffix, and it's just going to be a boolean. Is it a spell or is it not a spell? And then we can add one called spell name. And this is going to be a string. And we're going to make caster skill points and caster level. And we're going to add caster. What was I calling novice? All those were the, not proficiency. It's going to be. You like the giant worms? Good. I love the giant worms too. That was one of the earlier packs, and I still love it. Dragons, of course, awesome. But I like to hear when people like the other ones too. What was it? What was I calling those things? They weren't proficiency. That's a different keyword. Not expertise. What was I calling novice, expert, master, grandmaster? That was the. I don't know. What was it? Shoot. I'm at a loss. Can't remember what I called it. God darn it. This is really frustrating. Oh, good. I'm glad you like the music too. Not everybody makes use of the music. I think it's a great addition to the packs, having music. Okay, we'll call it expertise for now. So these are going to be, skill points is going to be a float, and level is going to be a float as well, and expertise is going to be a string. What else do we need? So if it's a spell, we're going to need that information about the caster. Maybe we don't need that information about the caster, actually. Do we need to know about the caster? We probably should store the information about the caster, because maybe in some cases we will. Because I can imagine a spell where if the caster is a certain level, then maybe you need to be a certain level to antidote on the poison or something. So we'll keep it for now. You can always remove it later. No big deal. So it's a spell name, skill points, and we're going to say start time. This is going to be the game time that it starts. So it's going to be a float. And we're going to say end time. So if it's a something that affects over time, or that ends, actually all of them will end at some point, so there's going to need to be some end time with the game time. And then we're going to have to be over time, so the effect, what's the term? Period. So time period. We'll say effect period. So this is going to be like if it's a poison, it might affect you every 2 minutes of game time. So we'll do a float for that. And we'll go in. So next period is going to be a float to keep track of when the next period is going to be. Do I need other things for this? Maybe it was mastery. Caster mastery. So this is basically going to say once one of these items is attached to a player character, I don't want to necessarily have to know who cast it. Maybe I do, actually, now that I think about it. This is an open world map. This is the demo scene right now from a Nature Manufacture. And the way I'm building this game now is going to basically use this scene just to have something pretty and make everything work, get all the logic going. Once I get the logic going and the game is kind of there, I'm sure I'll make changes beyond that point. But once I'm there, then I will do the process of actual level building and stuff. It's going to be somewhat open world. The whole world won't be open, but you'll go to different maps and regions, and they're going to be fairly large and non-square necessarily, and day and night system and weather, seasons, all that nice stuff. But yeah. Do I need to know who cast it from here? Do I need to know that? And it would have to be a game object. I didn't add game objects here. So let's say no. Right? Yes, delete caster. Okay, I think this is okay for now. I might need to add a few more things. So basically, when one of these items is assigned to a character, basically it's a condition that's been assigned to the character. Now the character therefore has that condition in their inventory of conditions. Based on this data, the name, mastery, and all that other stuff, I can look up what the effects are going to be. So I don't need to store all the effects right here necessarily. I can look them up, but I will... yeah, that means I kind of don't need to assign these here, do I? Do I? I mean, it makes it easier to do the computation. Let me think. Do I need to do that? I probably should. Yeah, because I'm going to have another list, and let's just create that now. Game module, create items. Yeah, and we're going to call this spells. And in these spells, we'll just default, so we don't need to change the types. We'll do heroism, poison, and weakness. And we're actually going to do novice and weakness, expert. See if this works. Heroism, expert, master, and grand master. So the idea here, let me resign. Whoops. Stupid. Why does it do that? Okay. All right. So the idea here is that these are the spells data, essentially. And the condition, like, you know, we know that heroism is going to affect the might, and we're going to do per skill point as well. And we'll set these to 0 for now, because the actual value of how much might the player gets, and let's just say that they also, you know, are going to be a little bit faster. So we'll change the speed, and maybe when they're heroic, they get a little bit more lucky. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up there. But so this is the item that goes in the conditions, but it's not the spell. It doesn't, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be once it's cast, but the values here are going to be different based on who cast it, right? So if a high powerful mage casts it, then they're going to be casting, you know, Heroism Grandmaster, and that's going to have a different effect than Heroism Novice. So we need to make those same effects here. So might and might, and then speed, and luck. All right, so for Heroism Novice, perhaps we increase might by 3, speed by 3, and luck by 2, and then 0.5 or 0.5 per skill point for each of those as well, not affecting the proficiency at all. But then on the expert level, we'll add those same, and I think just those, yeah. So I'll do that here as well. To all of these basically, and speed. Oops, not personality. Speed. And luck. Oh, I already added that one. This one. There we go. Where's luck? There it is. All right, so collapse these a little bit. So expert will be a little bit better. So maybe it'll be, you know, 4, 4, and 2, and it'll be 1, 1, 1 per skill point. So this could be a pretty sizable boost. And then for master level, we'll do 5, 5, and 3, and 1.5, boom, boom. And then for Grandmaster, I might change these, of course, in the actual game. I'm just doing things now. We'll do 5, 5, and 5, plus 2 per skill point. All right. So now these are going to be kind of the lookup table. You know, that's what I'm thinking right now. So essentially, I'm going to be looking up if a player casts heroism. I'm going to look up whether it's heroism novice, master, grandmaster, expert, and then look it up by name, by the string essentially from this list. And that means that that things like poison, you could do something like poison spider. And so if there's a spider that casts poison, then it can be slightly different effects than the poison spell that maybe the player or another humanoid casts onto the player. You could have, queen spider or cobra snake. Yes, I work full time. I have a full-time job, and this is my side gig that I do at night and weekends, and sometimes not nearly as much as I'd like to do. In fact, none of it's as much as I'd like to do. Maybe one day I won't have to have a full-time job, but I have a full-time job. And then, yes, I hire out for the modeling, and I do a lot of the texturing myself. Hire out the modeling, hire out for animation, rigging, blend shapes, work with other people on other stores. So the Unreal Engine store that we have, a very nice guy who's managing that. Hi, IT Angel. So there's a lot of people who work on these. I think all in all, there's probably been, 15 different people working on the Infinity PBR stuff. And right now there's actively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, I think, active right now. Maybe 7. Yeah, 6, I think. So, yeah, you're if you support Infinity PBR, you're supporting quite a few people, which is nice that we're growing enough to people are being able to be supported, which is nice for them too. All right, so that's what I'm thinking here is that we got spells. Spells will assign these values essentially. I'll create the logic, a script that says, hey, when you cast a spell, figure out the details, because all of this is going to be dependent on who's casting it. And also it's going to be dependent on who is receiving it, perhaps in some cases. If it's a poison spell and you've got a strength to body magic, then perhaps you might get a slightly less effect. And then yeah, that should work, I think. So let's just see. Let's go from there. So heroism, we'll assign the values there. Weakness, well, let's just work with heroism for now. And then we'll come back to this because weakness is going to be the opposite of heroism, essentially. And then poison is going to be an overtime thing, and that's going to be slightly different. So let's do. We need a temporary button here, so I'm just going to create a UI button, and heroism novice, and we'll call this heroism novice. Keep the same naming convention, I suppose, as we did in our lists. That should make it easier. Moving this to the side, and let's make it bigger. It's still very small. Okay, that's good enough. I hope you can all see that on the stream. Yeah, keep send your stuff over, G4L Studios on the Discord. Let me know. Always looking for more people to work with. Yep, I like working with people long term. That's my personality. I think it's better for everybody. But definitely get in touch, keep in touch, stay in touch. All right, so Heroism Novice, and then we'll do a couple. We're going to do Heroism Grandmaster too, which go all out to the top. And these are going to just be hard-coded. Hard-coded buttons just to cast it on whoever's currently selected. And so we will add component test, we'll call this test cast spell. At some point, of course, I'm gonna have to add the magic section. excuse me, and embed this into into the whole thing. But the code will be fine here, I believe. So when we cast spell, what are we doing here? First namespace. So namespace, Infinity PBR, Legend of the Stones, and we'll move this up. How do I move that up? And what do we do with when we're test casting the spell? We're going to just say cast spell, right? That's essentially it. But I should probably do the normal things like public void cast spell. Do we need any return value on this? Probably not right now. Do we need to know whether it's succeeded or not? I suppose in the end we will. We need to know if it succeeded. So it could be a bool and return false. So that if spell fails or something, we return false and then do a sound effect or something. Question: why are you using Unity over Unreal for RPG? Just curious. I'm also using a Mac, not a PC. But no, I've always used Unity since the start. Since the beginning, the reason why originally was just because it was more approachable with the community. This was back in 2012, 2013. Community, the scripting capabilities, the asset store was huge part of that. And so I've always used Unity. Started publishing on Unity for my own game, The Barbarian, and that's that. And then Unreal. I mean, we've got the Unreal store. Unreal just gives me a headache now, though. It's just there's enough differences between Unity and Unreal that I don't like it. I don't like the differences. It's nothing against Unreal. It's just there's differences, and it gives me a headache. But still want to support the Unreal store for those using Unreal, because really I don't really care what you use. I just care about fun games. All right, so when we cast a spell, so I guess I do need to put in here a couple just things: public string spell name and public string mastery, because that's what we're going to be casting essentially. The spell name and the mastery level, and then we'll look up the information from there. And so debug.log casting, and we'll just spell name at mastery level mastery. All right, just to put that there, and we'll assign both of these. You're wrong there. It didn't start due to C#. I started Unity with Unity script. Aha. Trick answer. Heroism novice. And we're just going to copy this component, paste it here. Oops. Paste it here. And grand master. Yeah, I started with the Unity script. It was more approachable because I knew a tiny bit about web stuff. And at the time, somebody told me that they were the same. They were wrong about that. Definitely wrong about that. But after a while, I ended up learning C#, and that's fine now. But I should have learned C# from the start. But what can you do? It was approachable. It got me in. If I'm here now because of that, that's fine. It's all about the end result, I suppose. All right. And then if we press play. Full screen. Oops, yeah. All right. Look at my console. Oh, I didn't assign the darn on click things, did I? Nope, I did not. So it's going to be this. Cast spell. Where's cast spell? It's not here. Why isn't it here? Let's see. Why isn't it here? Why can't I see? It is public, right? Public, cast spell. Is it because it has a return value? Maybe. Yep, live and learn. Yep, it is because I have a return value. Okay, so that's fine. I cannot have a return value for now. We don't really need it for this purpose. I can add that later. Cast spell. All right, so now when we press play, we will cast spells. When I click the little buttons, it should show up in the console. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, good. We're casting spells. Now let's make those spells do something. So essentially, I need to connect with my game data stuff. And if you haven't seen this before, what I've been doing is using the static things up here, which has been very helpful. So essentially, let me see if I've got, here's a menu. Okay, so this is what I use to connect to the game data itself. Just the static reference that I put up here. So I go to using static, Infinity PBR, Legend of the Stones, and then you got all these things, and we're going to say game. And so we're going to say, let's see. And then on game, I'm going to need now references to public items for spells and public items for conditions. So these are going to be links to my scriptable objects, essentially, that store the data. I'm going to be cloning those into the runtime game. And then, yeah, so clone them in the runtime game, and but I need a reference to them that will live forever in the game itself. So I got a game here. They're empty, so I will find them in my items. So conditions and spells. And then, of course, save this massive prefab object. This is the thing that's in every scene. It also doesn't destroy on load. But that way, when I press play on any scene, it technically should just load the last saved game. Technically. Yeah, it works, I think, right now. There might be a few bugs, but so now those are saved in game, so I can reference these objects and look up stuff. So back to Writer, back to test cast spells. I'm going to say item spell data equals game dot spells dot get item, and it's going to be the name of this object, really. So, but we'll spell it out. Spell name plus space plus mastery. So that should give us the spell data from our spells list. I'll just put a debug log spell data, and we'll just do spell data dot name. Full name. Yeah. And let's just make sure that works one step at a time. I've been developing games since 2012, 2013. I was very bad at the start. My first game was called Photo Hunt Online, and it was on iOS, and it was really cool, but it got taken down because turns out Photo Hunt is trademarked by a company that makes all those photo hunt games in the bars that you may have seen, where you look for differences between two photos. Made a couple other projects, but then the Barbarian was the one that I made. Took a couple years to make, but that one was the big one. All right, let's see. Heroes of Novice. Spell data, Heroes of Novice. Great, we got the data. All right. So from that data, we're going to assume... actually, maybe we could do a random... What do you think? Does it? I guess it doesn't really matter as long as we have random values here. So we're going to say public float skill points equals 3 and public float yeah, I guess that's all we really need. Skill points, and that way when we cast it, we'll cast it with skill points of 3. We'll just hard code that. It doesn't really matter in the end. Okay, so we got the spell data, so now we need to compute the effect itself. So we're going to... How are we going to do that? I guess we need one more thing in our spells here. We need to know whether or not this does create a condition, because it could just be a fireball. And a fireball isn't something, isn't condition. So certainly we don't need... Okay, so spells and dictionaries. Hey, don't have any dictionaries for this one yet? I guess not. So we're gonna, let's see. So not caster, we're gonna call condition, and we need a string. So now our heroism, if we do conditions, we'll do heroism. I'm just going to copy that into these. I had option clicked on dictionary to change them all, so you can change them all at once. You can option click to toggle all of these open and closed as well. Just makes it a little bit faster to go through the lists. So now each of these is going to, not caster, why did that not change? This is going to be condition. And yeah, okay, so condition, heroism. That way I know that there is a condition associated with this. So if we go back to writer here, we're going to say add condition. And this is going to be spell data. And we'll create this method. And then add condition, and we'll do spell data. Okay, so if spell data dot, how do I do dictionary stuff? Dictionary dot has, well, all of them are going to have something for this, so it's not really has key. Get key value, get value, just value, string, condition. Okay, so that's the string itself. But if string dot is null or empty, return. So basically, this is saying if there is nothing in condition, right here, if this condition is empty or null, then there's no condition. But if we have something in there, then yes, we're going to continue with this method here and add a condition. So we are going to get the condition. We need to obtain the condition, right? So item condition data equals game dot conditions dot get item, and our conditions are listed as just singular without the mastery level, correct? Correct. Okay, so just the name of the spell, and the spell we have a new thing called condition. Oh, condition. Right. Okay, duh, by name. So, all right, let me just back up there. The spell casts a condition heroism, and that's what we're going to be looking up. Heroism. Duh. All right, so get item. We're going to do this. So let me just cache this string. Condition name equals that, and then all right. Oops. All right. Get item condition name. Debug.log. Condition to add is condition data.full name. All right. All right. Let's just see that if that works. If we link these up properly. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, now's a great time to click that subscribe and like button. We are currently trying, we have over 1,000 subscribers, which is excellent. Thank you for those who have subscribed. We're now trying to get to over 4,000 watch hours. And that gets us to the point where we can get paid for all those ads that you have to watch. And also it opens the doors for a lot of other YouTube features that will help us grow the audience as well. All right, let me press play and we'll see if the console spits out what we want to spit out. Essentially, we're looking to make sure we grab that heroism condition object. And we did. All right, good. That's simple stuff, but always good to check as I'm building it because I can make mistakes sometimes. All right, so next step is to compute the values of this condition. So we know we're going to add this condition. We know the player selected, that's part of game. So now we need to compute the value. So for each value in the condition, there should be an equal value in the spell. Now, technically, this is something that we could code, like maybe we don't need the condition to have these values. And that would be easier. Because once we clone the condition onto the player, we don't want to change these at runtime because these are our data. So we don't want to change these at runtime. But technically, if I know I'm casting Heroism Novice, I can add these values to a condition. So if they aren't listed here already, I could add them. And I think that would be a lot easier than making sure I match these one-to-one and adding them all. So since I think that is easier, I'm going to give that a try because I think that is the better way of doing it, right? Yeah, so I'm going to delete these values. And we'll try to set those at runtime on the clone of the condition. So the other thing we need in the dictionary is on the spell is how long it lasts. So we're going to create a new key value called time or time limit or time length, longevity. What's the right word for how long it lasts? There's a delay between when I say something and when you hear it. guess condition length. I don't know. That was me cracking my knuckles. I guess duration. Yeah, you guys are smart. Duration. All right, good. Thank you for that. Sometimes my brain doesn't work, and duration is going to be a float value because it might change per skill point of the caster and other things. So now duration on the novice level is going to be, and duration, we're going to add duration per skill point too. And that's also going to be a float, so that when we go on novice, it's going to be a duration. This is going to be like in-game minutes. So let's say it lasts 30 minutes plus 1 per skill point. And at expert level, it lasts 40 minutes plus 2. And at master level, it might add 50 minutes plus 3 minutes per level. And then grandmaster will just say 60 minutes, a full hour, plus 5 minutes per skill point. So that will be our duration. All right, so we need to know the duration. We need to know the actual values that we're going to be affecting. We're going to be adding these at runtime. So let's do that. So we need to clone this and clone it to the player itself. So on the game, we have a player. I think a player selected. Is that right? Active player. So that's a nice little helpful thing. So active player. Oh, whoops. Not active. Game.activePlayer.conditions.add, and we're going to add a condition data.clone. So that items not conditions. Why not? Why the heck not? What is conditions? Conditions. I think I can just. Right. Nope. I can't. Okay. Conditions. Do I not have conditions? Why am I having trouble going into this? There we go. Don't have conditions. It says I have conditions. I do. It's just down here. All right, I can ignore that. Oh, interesting. Look at all this. Look at this. This is what this is old stuff. That's what this is. This is old. So what I'm going to do is rename that conditions old. Comment that out. It shouldn't cause any problems, but let's see. It's possible it causes problems because I did. Yeah. Okay. So let me Let me uncomment that out. Oops. Oh, okay. Save. And we'll rename this conditions old as well. Next. All right, save that. That should change everything in the project that references the old version. All right, good. So now we need to add conditions because this doesn't exist right now. So in player, where's their inventory? Learned skills, stats or skills, inventory section. Do we have other sections? Nope. All right, so we'll just do it up here. Conditions section. Sometimes I think this is a good idea, but other times I'm not so sure, but it's okay. So public list item conditions equals new list item. So it's just a list of all our conditions. And we can go back here, conditions, add a clone of the condition. Okay. And once it's added, then we need to populate the data. So there's a few things we need to do. We're going to do the length of time. So let's do that. Set length, set duration. So the duration is going to be the values we set in the dictionaries plus or multiplied by the skill points. So actually, let me do this slightly different. We're going to say item is player condition equals condition data dot clone. So we'll clone it first, and then we'll add that to the list. We can actually add that at the end as well. So we'll set the duration. So player condition dot dictionary dot set value float, and just remind myself what I called it. Conditions, we called it start time and end time. All right, so start time, and it's going to be game.data.game time, and that's going to be, so this is a double actually, right? I think. Oh no, it's not. What is it? Game time. Oh yeah, I'm using game time, that module. It's been a bit since I touched this. That's why if I seem confused, that's why. So time counter, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. And what is game time? Yeah, returns double. Okay. So, source of truth, time counter. Time counter, and how do you do float, right? That, yeah. So cast that as a float, and then player condition dot dictionary dot set value float end time is going to be that. Do we need to do another method, or is this fine to do it right here? Get end time and spell data, condition data. Do it a different way. Okay, so how about this? We'll do set start and or just duration. All right, and we're going to pass in the spell data and the condition data and the player condition. I think we just need those, and then we're going to move this down there. So we don't need condition data at this point, I guess. Maybe we do. I don't think we do. Do we? We'll find out. It smells like pizza all of a sudden. Thanks, El Sporco. The dev process of a dev who's not an expert dev, but that's okay because I have a feeling that a lot of people are not expert devs, probably more than those who are. So hopefully my bumbling around can help. Plus, you guys come up with the duration, which is a word I could not think of. So that's great. All right, so the end time is going to be okay, so float start time equals that. And we'll put that here, start time. And then end time is going to be start time plus spell data dot dictionary dot get value float duration, right? Just confirm this. Dictionaries or dictionary duration, and then yeah, okay, perfect. Not that button, this button. All right, duration and end time. We're going to add to that plus equals spell data dictionary dot get value float and duration per skill point times skill points. And this is just a placeholder. Placeholder will be based on who is casting. And yeah, same with these. Well, same with mastery. Spell name will be different. So I should probably put that there. Header placeholders. Yeah, that would be nice. I like to do that. I like to remember to try to add headers. It makes it better. All right, so now we have the end time set. So we'll set that as well. Okay, so we computed end time, we've computed start time, and we are now setting the duration. So that should be set now on the condition. And then we're going to do set effects, spell data, player condition. And so this is going to set the actual effects, all those might and stuff effects that the spell itself has. So we're going to be doing this live at runtime rather than copying over, as I spoke about a few minutes ago, just to get my head rewrapped around it as this loads. Why is this? Okay. I don't know why it's importing all these assets now, but it is. All right. So our conditions will not have all these values set, same as the spells will. I'm going to instead add these values to the condition that's going to be attached to the player, the clone that we made at runtime. And so we might need to refer to the code of the items module for that, because I may not remember, but we'll find out. All right, so we're going to do a for each base value. Yeah, we need to dig into this a little bit. What is it? Values base. These are what I'm looking for. Value. What is it? All right. It's a stat or skill. Stat or skill. Just SS. I like to do SS for stat or skill. In spell data values base. So for each value base, we're going to just copy that over to player condition. So player condition dot values base dot add. Do we have an add option? I don't think we do. So we might need to code that ourselves. Try add values. What's this? This is where I should have written a note to myself about what it is, and to everybody else too. Try add values. If the stat or skill already exists in the combined list, we add the value and proficiency. Oh. Where do we use this? So in this case, we are adding the prefix values. Hold on, let me just wrap my head around this, and then I'll write some notes about it. I'll have to update the module with those notes too. So this is essentially saying, add this to the list. And for each stat or skill in the list, if its name okay, I think I'm going to write my own because I'm going to add more logic to it. So, but I can kind of just steal from this, right? Let's copy it. For each one, what do I do? Okay. So for each one in the values space, really, for each stat and skill in, yeah. All right, I'll just do it myself. All right. For each stat and skill, SS stat base value. No. And that's going to copy both of these values over. Dot clone. It has to be a clone because we're not copying the actual object. We're just copying, making a clone of it. Okay, and then the per skill point value we will now compute, and the per level value, and I'm going to do a placeholder here, public float level equals 1. Placeholder will be based on who is casting. In this case, none of mine have per level effects, but we'll add the logic there. All right, so this is copying or cloning rather. Clone the values base into the player condition. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We just need to copy these over. So I'm going to do this for all of these, essentially. So copy that, paste it, and we're going to do values per skill point and values per level. Because the actual effect on the player is going to be computed outside of this. Like, you know, if they, here we're saying their might's going to go up by 3. This isn't going to make the player's might go up by 3. This is going to add the condition that says the might will go up by 3. And then that computation will happen outside of this whole casting. The cast itself just adds the condition. The condition is what does the actual modification. So what we're really doing here is simply saying, hey, we need to just keep track of what, once we cast it, keep all the pertinent data on the condition, and then we don't care about the rest of the information. So we need to set effects. And really, we'll call this set values instead of effects. And then the other stuff we need to carry over is going to be all this dictionary stuff. And I think it's not from here, though. We got the duration, we got the condition, and so now we need, on the condition, we need all this information. So set condition information, set other information. So spell data, player condition. Other information is not super specific, I suppose, but it kind of is, isn't it, in a way? So we're basically going to populate these as we need it. So player condition dot dictionary dot set bool value bool is spell true, and then player condition dot dictionary dot set value string spell name, and the spell name is going to be the spell data dot I mean, object name and full name will be the same because there's no prefix and suffix here. So object name. All right, player condition dictionary dot. Okay, how about this? We'll do dictionary, player dictionary. Yeah, dictionary, and then we'll move these because I don't actually need all that other stuff. To clean it up a little bit, we'll go dictionary, and I can probably do the same. Can I do the same somewhere else? Do the same here, I think. So that just kind of makes it a little bit smaller, right? Because we don't need the whole thing passed in. We do need it here, though, because we need all the different value base. So player condition will be passed for this one, but not for these. It just makes it a little easier to read, perhaps. All right, next one is set value float for caster skill points. I'm literally just reading down this line over here. And we're going to pass in the skill points placeholder. Dictionary set value float caster level, and dictionary that's set value string mastery, and this is going to be from the spell data dot get dictionary dot get value string mastery, and let me just check that just to make sure whoops, just to make sure that I did the right name. So that's in spells. Values. No, I didn't. Where did I save that? Did I save it on the as a placeholder? Up here? I did. So it's just a placeholder. Okay. So ignore this. Mastery. All right. We've done start time, end time. If there is an effect period, so this is where poison comes into play. So let's set that now because we'll have to set that. And so let's just see. Spells. Look at poison. There's poison spider. Duration, condition, values. Yeah, so we need to add a new dictionary as to whether this is what did I say? Period effects. Period effects. This is going to be Boolean. And then just period. And the period is going to be a float. And if it's 0, then it's a period effect. So I'm going to just have period, and for spider, poison, it's going to be every 1 minute. We'll do the same for this. Okay. And then the values, so the values for this is going to be literally hit points. It's going to affect your base hit points, and it's going to do we'll say 3, and then a proficiency of 0. So proficiency can actually, in the logic for my game, the proficiency can slightly modify the value. So with a period of 1, which means every 1 minute you'll take a hit of 3 hit points. If the proficiency is negative 0.5, that means that the effect will be anywhere between 100% and 50% of this value. And essentially, the way I'm going to do the logic is, the character who's casting this might have a higher proficiency. So the Spider Queen might have a base proficiency of 2, which means this -5 would mean the final proficiency is 1.5. And in that case, we're going to take 2 values. We're going to multiply the 3 here and then also 3 times a random number between 1 and 1.5, essentially the proficiency. And okay, yeah, sorry, I misspoke. So the actual value will be between a random number between 3 times 1 and 3 times the proficiency. In this case, 1.5. So it could be anywhere between 3 and 4.5. Now that would be then modified by the player's resistance to proficiency, and it would be modified as well by luck. So in if there's going to be an is lucky random, small chance of it happening, but if the character is lucky, then this will be computed twice, and the better of the two will be resulted. So if the spider is lucky, then the higher of 2 rolls on the final value will be used, and then if the player is lucky, then the lower of the final defense that they take after they've received, they take off their resistance will be used. So you can get a little lucky with that. That's how proficiency is going to work. Yeah, so we can leave that there. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Yeah, so that's how that's going to work. So what that was, the period is what we're looking at here, though. Back into Writer. So let's see. If period is 1, so we can do a new one here. Set period information, spell data, and player condition.dictionary. I think we'll keep that going. And so we're first going to do a return if period is 0. So if our spell data, so if spell data.dictionary.get value float period period equals 0. What am I doing here? Return. Oh, okay. That confused me. That's fine. Okay. So if this is 0, then it's returned, and we don't do anything. But otherwise, our condition wants to know 2 things, if I remember correctly. It needs to know when to start, which is going to be immediately, and then the next one. I think that's what it needs to know. Effect period and next period. Okay, yeah, those are the 2 things. So it's essentially the same thing. So we're going to say, let's call this dictionary. Dictionary.set float value. Value float effect period is going to be that, and then dictionary.set value float effect or next period, and this is just going to be now essentially. So this is the same as our time earlier that we set duration. So this is the same as our start time. So I'm just going to copy that because again, this is not doing any of the actual effects. This is just adding the effect to the player. But the code that actually does the hey, you're poisoned and you're going to take damage needs to know that if the game time is past next period, then hey, do this, and then also add make next period to be whatever next period is now plus equals effect period. So that way it happens every minute in the game world in game minutes. So that should be everything. And then once we set all those values, we then add it to the add this clone, which we then modified to the player. Let's see if that works. That was a bunch. I didn't test in the middle of that. There was nothing, I mean, there was stuff to test, but it was all kind of one big thing. So what we should see is in game, the player here will be populated, and we should have a list of conditions that will be empty. Okay, conditions are indeed empty. And if I add one here, we get bugs. Perfect. Okay, well, that's better than nothing. What is this? Set value string. All right, well, so this is basically saying that one of my strings names is wrong. This is null, so what we're doing is mastery. So we don't have a mastery. Caster mastery. That's why. So if you are using the dictionary and you get this null reference exception, go back one line to see what was casting it, or casting, how to get it. And that's why you just spelled it wrong. Like I spelled it wrong. So now I need to restart. That's going to take just a minute. Let's try this again. All right. Go back just to check. We are looking for game on our player conditions. It worked. Let's see. Did it fully work? Pause. We have our heroism. We don't need any of that. It's a buff. That's good. We don't need any of that. None of that. Dictionary, key values. It's a spell. Yep. Spell name, heroism, novice. Caster skill points was 3. Caster level was 1. Caster mastery was novice. Start time is that. End time is that. That should be higher than this. It is. It is a full 30 minutes higher. Effect period is 0. Perfect. And that's 0 too, because there's none of that. So that worked. Values base, might, speed, luck. We got all those. So it looks like it fully worked. So now that means that the condition is on the player. Excellent. Doesn't do anything yet. I will be on Jason's stream tomorrow, Tech Dave 99. Looking forward to it. I always enjoy those. I always feel outclassed by Jason and Jason. They are far more experienced than me, but I always hope that I can provide an interesting insight and perspective to those very good experts in the field, and maybe ask some of the dumb questions that some people watching might be thinking, is this a dumb question? I really want to ask this. And then I'll ask it for you, because I'm okay with being dumb. All right, so this is great because the condition is on the player. It doesn't do anything yet. It won't be removed. None of that logic exists. But what we do need to do is make sure that we don't get a second one, because if I were to click this button again, now we have condition heroism twice. So what we need to do is do a check and make sure that we only get it once. And if we cast it again, update the data to be, I suppose, the better or worse of the two, the greater of the two. So if you are cast with a novice and then someone casts a grandmaster spell on you, you should take the better of the two rather than sticking with the worse. Similar with poison, if a small spider poisons you, gives you a little poison, and then a big spider queen poisons you and gives you a ton of poison, you want the worse to be affecting the player. So we need to add that here in the add condition. We want to check to make sure the condition doesn't exist already of this type, I suppose. So let's see. So we're going to say if has condition condition of equal or of greater value. Spell data. Yeah. So if there's a condition of greater value already, then we're just going to return. We're not going to do anything. Is that right? I mean, yeah. Yes, being named Jason is a cheat code for being a good DM dev. Everybody knows that. Ancient logic before computers, of course, more physical logic, coding, if you would. Jason the Argonauts, if you reread that story, Jason's a developer, essentially. Actually, I have no idea what that story is about. I just made that up. I mean, what happens? What makes sense? If a novice poison is on you and a greater value poison is cast, obviously that's going to get replaced. But what if you have a greater value cast and then a novice one is cast on top? Do they stack? I mean, it's certainly a buff like heroism shouldn't stack. But what happens if you have a grandmaster one and the novice then is cast? If the grandmaster condition is about to expire, does the novice condition somehow extend that at all? How does that work? I think the easiest thing is just to only replace it if it's of greater value, and if it's not of greater value, then it doesn't really have an effect. I mean, I kind of think that makes sense. Or it can extend the effect of the existing one. Doesn't change anything, but it does extend the effect. So that if you're already poisoned with the spider queen and a small spider bites you, it doesn't add to the poison, but it extends the length, the duration that the poison will last. Maybe that's the way it should be. So what we can do instead is we'll do, if it has that, then extend condition, spell data. Otherwise, we'll add the condition. So if we have a condition of greater value, we'll extend it. Otherwise, we'll add it. So let's find out if we have it. So So to do this, we need the player condition, or yeah, so for each item condition in game.activePlayer.conditions see, I swear there's probably a built-in like has like a has contains so condition name. Why is this red? Yeah, so contains is looking for an item, so I need it contains like contains by name or something. All stack regardless. Keep the strongest and drop the lower ones. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with number 2, Tech Dave, because I mean I could add a boolean where some stack like poison might stack, but buffs like heroism don't, because otherwise you cast it 30 times and become super strong, and that won't make sense for my project at least. Yeah, so I think I never figured out if it has a find, but I'll just do it this way. It's not like it's, this isn't going to kill the game speed with this kind of game. Okay, for each one, conditions, if condition dot name, full name equals spell data, give value string, return true, return false. So essentially just go through all the conditions. If you find a match on the name, then we have it, otherwise we don't. And then extending condition. So this is essentially gonna so actually what we can do is return the condition. So if that oh, actually, let me go back. Undo. Okay, don't return the condition. Don't return that. So basically, if we're doing that, then we're just gonna extend here. We don't need to. Come on, what did I do? Okay, select these. Put that here. That didn't work. Select this. All right. So if it's true, we have the condition. We're going to extend here and return true. And that way up here, we just have to say, if we don't have the condition, then add the condition. So if we don't have the condition, add the condition. If we have the condition, we're going to extend it. We're going to call that from down here. That keeps us casts more neat, more clean. And can I clean this up at all? Yes, I can. So if this does not equal, then we'll say continue. Oops, and delete that so that, there we go. So that's a little bit easier to read cognitively. All right, so if we're extending the condition, I think what I'll do is I'll extend the time, but not the content. So set period information is going to be not period information, general information. No, conditions, values, duration. So so we're really just going to change the end time. So let me just copy these up here, and I'll just, all right, so we're going to say spell data, no, extend condition, we're going to do that, and condition dot dictionary, and we're going to dictionary dot dictionary. All right, and so we'll say dictionary, let's just float new duration equals, we'll get the current duration now, dictionary dot get value float end time end time, so call this end time. All right, so that's our current end time, and then we're going to do end time plus equals that, and then this. That should be it, right? So we are getting the existing end time, adding to it the new duration. We're missing one bit. Missing this. So we're adding to it the duration, and then adding to it the duration per skill point, and then setting the value there. All right, so that should work, and let's test that. The game is going to be like Might and Magic 6, 7, 8, where it's somewhat turn-based. It's real time, but you can go into turn-based for combat because it is party-based, and therefore it's going to be too difficult to do turn-based. It's not like Skyrim where you're doing live fighting. It's rather you've got your party, and whether you hit or not is based not on your skill of timing it, but rather your stats and whatnot. Whether you dodge as well, stuff like that. So turn-based combat is going to be the more common scenario. So let's see if this works. We're going to check, and when we click novice, okay, let's see. So we should have nothing in our conditions right now, correct? Now we get novice and novice and novice. Okay, and we should be seeing the dictionary value for end time change. So this value right here should change when we click this. Does it? Yes. So it does. I don't know why it's always 0.6. That's an interesting thing. So the value is changing. That's great. Now, when we click Grandmaster, I don't think I coded this right. I didn't code this right, did I? Because I'm just looking for the name, but really I need to find the name and the Mastery. Okay, so this is what I'll do. I need to code that. I'm reading. Tech Dave says, suppose you have two buffs. One is a lower level and lasts 2 minutes. The other is the same buff, but a higher level and lasts for 30 seconds. Cast a high level buff, and near the end you cast a low level one. You wouldn't get the effect of the high level buff for another 2 minutes. Then you would, yeah, it would be a cheat, but I think I avoid that by not having that scenario. The length will increase with the mastery rather than decrease. I see the point though of like, you know, maybe you have like a super powerful buff that's just really short-lived. But I think in this case, I mean, I could always check too. I could always say, hey, the new one you're casting. But I think there's no perfect way of doing it. It really depends on the use case. And I think in this use case, I'm not going to have a lower or higher mastery won't last less time. So what I do want to check for though here is whether it's a greater mastery, because I'm just looking saying, hey, if the full name okay, so if we don't have that condition already, then we're just going to continue. And if the current condition is of lower mastery, then we're going to continue. Condition so this means that the name does match. So we're going to check the mastery .get .dictionary .get value string caster mastery is equal to, or oh shoot, this is I gotta put this into a number. That's not a big deal, but float. All right, so int mastery index equals 0. It's probably a better way of doing this, but string mastery equals caster mastery. If mastery equals novice, then mastery index equals 0. It's a very boilerplate. Equals expert mastery index equals 1. Oh, you know what? I actually think I solved for this. Did I solve for this? I feel like I solved for this in the module system. Did I? I may have. Let me see. Let's see. Suddenly I have a time limit for another 20 minutes or so, and then I've got to go. So let me see. Scripts, not inventory. What am I looking for? Stats and skills, scripts, necessary skill, scriptable objects, RPG data. Did I solve for this? Yes, I did. So I'm going to look for the index of mastery names. Okay. Mastery index. So it's going to be let's see. Data. Game.rpg data mastery names is there one that tells me which index it is? let's go through. Okay, so for each string mastery name in game.rpgdata.mastery names, if mastery name equals caster mastery, mastery index equals 0. Oops. Then we're going to break this loop. Otherwise, we're going to say mastery index plus plus and go to the next one. So, because it's going to start with novice. Okay, so now and I guess we need current mastery index equals 0 as well. Okay, so if that does not equal, then we'll increase that, and then we'll do the same for the current mastery index. And if it doesn't equal, okay, so this is the current one. Getting myself confused. And we need the new one, which is going to be spell data, dictionary, get value string, caster mastery. Or really, since this is a placeholder, mastery, right? Because mastery is right here. Okay. Okay. I guess we need to do this. Okay, so this mastery index, and then current mastery index is the one currently assigned. All right. So we're getting the 2 index of these. Okay. If the mastery name doesn't equal our current mastery, then we're going to increase it. So for current novice, and for novice won't increase. Okay. 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 I think I got it now. So now we're going to check these two, and we're going to say if our current mastery index is less than or is greater than the mastery index, the new one, then we're going to continue. So this is basically saying, we'll write this down for myself later too. If the condition name doesn't match, skip this. And then we're going to say, so now the condition name matches, and we're going to say, well, let me add it up here actually. If the existing condition is a higher mastery level, then skip. So no effect, essentially. That's fine. I can always change that later. Or actually, if it's, we should extend the condition. Okay, so then, so we're going to extend it and then continue, or break really, right? Or return true. Yeah. So if we have it, then we're going to extend it and return true, because yes, we have a condition of greater value. But so now that means that we have it, but it's of equal or lower. So now we're going to replace it instead. So we have the condition, but it's of equal or lower mastery. So we will replace this with the new one. So what we need to do is remove that condition. So remove condition, remove existing condition. Yeah, so I guess I'll just do game.activePlayer.conditions.remove index equals 0. Move at index. No, it won't work. That won't work. That won't work. Yeah, so I need to change the loop type here to be a for int I equals 0, I is less than game.activePlayer.conditions.count. Whoops, not that. Count I. Oops. I can't type. I plus plus. And then we'll say item condition equals game.activePlayer.conditions I. All right. And then remove that I. Okay. And then return true, false. Because we're saying, okay, we're going to replace it, so we have to remove it, and then we return false. And because we returned false, we will now add the condition, add the new condition. Okay. Let's see if that works. Yeah, job for enums. That's from back. I hadn't looked at the chat in a bit while I was focusing on that. But yeah, I had solved that for that earlier because one of the things I was thinking actually with the stat and skills was, it's gone now, or RPG data, was making this customizable, and it is to some degree. You can customize it here, but yeah. Anyways, then press play, so we should see. We'll have to check everything, make sure it all works. Game, we're looking at our player. Heroism novice. All right, and then we should see the time increase as we cast it again. We are not seeing the time increase. Okay, so that's an issue. So let's add some debugs. Debug.log. We don't need to do that one there. Okay. Debug.log found match for game.activePlayer. Just condition. We already have that. Already cached it. Condition.fullname. And we'll debug.log check this as well. Condition to add is that. So we should find the match, and then if we find the match, Okay. Debug.log current mastery index equals current mastery index. New equals mastery index. All right. All right. This gets called twice. Why does this get called twice? See? Okay, so it's going here. Oh, ha. It didn't actually get called twice. It's just the same thing being. Okay, so we didn't find a match, so we end up going to adding the condition. And then, let me undo, I don't want it to save. Okay, now if I click it again, found match heroism, current 3, 3. Novice is supposed to be 0. So that's something. And then it adds a new one. Okay, so that is correct, but if that's the case, then it should be also adding the duration, right? And that would change the end time. Unless it's just adding a whole bunch of new ones. No. Very odd. I don't know why it's not doing that. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. I hate leaving streams with an open question. I know I didn't get to all the buffs I wanted to do, but like the poison, I only have a couple more minutes and then some family people are supposed to arrive and I can't ignore them. I mean, I guess I could, but that would be very rude of me. All right, so let's see. Heroism gets added. Great. Great. We see it here. We see it there. We see the end time. We see the end time. Clear it out. Match current moving existing. All right, maybe it's this that's getting messed up. What happens if I do Grandmaster? Huh. Interesting that they both get replaced. I'm on Novice. Go to Grandmaster. Yeah, this is wrong. So, anyways, I'm gonna have to do this off of the stream a little bit later. So, I'm gonna call it for now. Thank you for watching. If you have not liked and subscribed, please do like and subscribe. Also, be sure to go to infinitypbr.com and click any link to the asset store and check out the assets on sale. There's not just my stuff. There's some cool stuff for me on sale, but there is also a lot of other great stuff on sale right now at the summer sale. I'm going to just click this shop all sale. Gaia Pro is cheaper right now. Feel is something that looks really cool. Top-down engine if you like the quick use stuff. Dialogue system. I've not used it, but it's always up there. A lot of great stuff here. Animations. You can't go wrong with animations. I think there's an animation sale going on at the same time. So lots of animations. Nature manufacture stuff. Can't go wrong there. Whatever this is was ability and combat toolkit. It's create attacks, abilities, weapons, and spells. All right. Well, this might work well. This is kind of what my modules is trying to replace, so that you don't have to get something like this that is very. Think the term opinionated is the term, very opinionated, where it has to be certain things. That was one of the things about that whole novice thing, that that I wanted to change, because that's very opinionated. So the modules are supposed to replace, so you don't need to use that. You can create your own version somewhat easily, but I understand. Lordenfell, popular pack, expensive pack, so it's cheaper. Not a new castle, it's an old castle, so there's that. We need to work on a castle pack. It's on our list of things to do. It would not be quite like this, because this is old looking, and we're going to make a new looking castle one. I wonder though if they're going to make a version of this that is not broken down. That would be interesting. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, here we go. URP volumetric light and fog, cool. Highlight Plus, this is a go-to. I haven't used it as well, but I plan on using it in this game. Sensor Toolkit is also something that I might end up using in the game instead of rolling my own, because this seems a lot easier to just use somebody else's. Mesh effects. I know I want to put effects on these portraits, so I might try to use mesh effects on that and figure out how they do that, and then make my own effects. But so when you get cured or hit, the portraits actually get the effects on them too, which is just kind of cool. But lots of good stuff on sale. One more sale in the asset store, but definitely check it out and get there by going to infinitypbr.com and clicking on my affiliate links. Anyways, yep, going to those family people now. So I will put my outro on, and have a great day. Thanks for joining me and for the conversation, and for reminding me of the word duration. That was helpful. Thanks.